Hi, my name is Shawn Smotherman. I'm a member of the Word of Faith Fellowship. I've lived here since 2001. I'm also the brother-in-law of John David Cooper, who has been in the middle of the AP report, the forum on Saturday with John Huddle. I just want to give you some of the truth, some of the gaps that John David left open to make his story sound so sad.
Again, thank you all for being here. My name is John Cooper. In my case, it was a little bit unique because my wife and I, when we got married, we were allowed to get a car. You aren't allowed until they decide you're allowed. And what they did was they put this car in the name of some ministers in the church. So they held the title on the car, and we had to pay cash to them, and they would pay the car payment. So theoretically, if we left with our car, we were stealing their property because they held the title. So I had to convince Jane to let me get the car in my name because we were paying for it. And the day that we got the car in our name, I left. But I just want to kind of throw that out there so that people understand the kind of barriers. I think the psychological ones are some of the more difficult ones to overcome in the beginning.
So John David wants to paint this picture and twist this to fit his narrative, that he was psychologically controlled and manipulated by Jane Whaley, and his every move was dictated to the point where he couldn't buy a car, couldn't get married without the permission of Jane Whaley. The truth is, he didn't have money to buy a car because he hadn't held down a job and he had been going to college and didn't have any credit. So a friend of the family in the church, not ministers, just friends out of the goodness and kindness of their heart, loaned him the money so he'd have down payment so he and his new wife could have a car to drive so they wouldn't be catching a ride everywhere. So, I mean, your average, any other young couple would be extremely grateful that somebody helped them get a car. They were paying back that couple in the church, as they got the money, but the title was actually held by his in-laws. And so when he decided he wanted to leave, then he got the title switched from his in-laws to his name and moved to Chapel Hill.
I was made to work for people in the church.
The truth was, John David wanted to go to college, and we were all right behind him. So we meaning the family here, because we both worked for the family business for our father-in-law. We worked to get him a car, worked to get him tuition paid, gave him housing, we lived together. And he was shown nothing but love in our family. So how does he stray so far to come back and try to make it that we're the enemy is baffling to me.
When my wife and I first left, they were stalking us, following us in cars, and they actually got into my wife's online account and using Find My iPhone to try to track us based on the iPhone location data. They actually followed us all the way up to Capitol Hill, which was 4 hours away.
But the alarming part was to her parents mainly, because they had a pretty rocky beginning in their marriage. And her parents were genuinely concerned about the safety of their daughter because they left the house where we all lived together until my wife and I could buy our house without telling anybody. They just up and left, and we had no idea if she was in danger or what happened. So it was her parents that actually followed John. When he talks about there was a truck that followed us and they were hacking our phones, and it was her parents who were genuinely concerned about the safety of their daughter, just like any father, I believe, would be. And where did he get money to go to college? Because at that point, he wasn't on a scholarship. It was our family, the family business, that was paying his way through college. The reason he lived here was because it was cheaper for the family and for him. So there's no truth that he was psychologically controlled and he had to overcome all these obstacles. He was given everything and the road was paved. And even after he left, he talks about, they had to do it all on their own. They were still supported by her parents, mainly, really, until he got his Navy scholarship, which was quite a while afterwards. I remember many of my friends that are still here actually sending gifts for their baby when they did have their baby. So the fact that they were dropped cold and had to build this life from scratch is a complete lie.
I didn't have any friends outside the church. I wasn't allowed to make friends outside the church.
And John and Benjamin both said that they were so secluded here that they could not find a connection to get out.
I had family in Florida who would have loved to help, but I hadn't spoken to them in 14 years, so I didn't know how to get in touch with them. Didn't really have anyone that I could call and say, help me.
One's enrolled in law school, one's on his way to medical school. If they're smart enough to go to college, surely they can find their way to the phone to call a relative. Or they could Google it. They both had smartphones. I know those were out by then. Really, if they wanted to get in touch with somebody, they could have. And they were given every means to go to college. Everybody here, their families here, were supporting them going to college. So it's not like they were sneaking off to do that. It's a bunch of lies to portray, to taint this story and paint and sing this sad song that never happened. They were fully supported in developing their life, but it doesn't fit the narrative that they want to, and so they come back and try. Really, they're out to destroy the very people that loved them the most in their life. And I can't let this happen. That's why I had to speak out and give you fill in the blanks that they missed. When it really started changing, when I started seeing John David change, was 2 or 3 years into college, when he started being swayed by some atheistic teachers. He started questioning whether Christianity was true and whether that was the religion for him. And nobody tore him down or demeaned him because of it, but tried to help him. And he moved away, everybody still supported him. But now he's come back and he wants to bring harm to us because his beliefs are different than ours. He wants to endanger my family. When you attend a forum and lie and tell people they abused me, they beat me, what does that make you want to do to those people that committed these acts? It makes you want to hunt them out. Well, this is in my town. I have a little girl and I have another one on the way. I don't take them out in public right now because of the hate that's been incited by these lies. And there's no foundation of truth in any of it. If you've listened to some of John David's videos, posts, they do nothing but incite hate. And you should really question what happened to this boy that he got to this point. Because there's no foundation of truth to it.